Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today, Tim and I are going to talk about hope and how hope is not a strategy.
How hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is coming out of,
Like, I hope this works out.
yeah, I hope this works out. I hope we get it right. I hope I'm successful.
Right.
And I do hear this a lot in my practice. I think we think it a lot. We don't say it out loud to people, but it's something that goes through our minds. I know I've thought it many times throughout my life. And I really wanted to talk about this and make this an episode because it's going to be similar to burnout, but it is different. We were watching the F1 movie in the theaters, and there was a scene where Brad Pitt's character, the older, air quote, older race car driver, comes back and he's sitting in at a meeting. They were talking about the engineers were discussing something about the car and something about, I don't know, they're having problems with the car. And it wasn't until you follow F1, you realize it really takes an entire team to have a successful car and driver.
True.
You think it's a driver, it's the team, it's an engineering, it's all that goes into it. And someone said something like, let's hope this works. And he said, hope is not a strategy. I think he said it. And I was thinking it, and I was talking with another coach about this as well. And so I want to do an episode on this because, like I said a minute ago, it's something that many of us think to ourselves, and it's really not a way to go about doing work, a way to go about being successful in your life, whether it be your personal life or your professional life. It's not a strategy. So we're going to get into what are the strategies.
I mean, you probably say it to yourself every day, don't you? Well, I really hope that.
I hope I'm not late for work.
Or anything.
I hope there's not traffic this morning.
Right. You lean, not you, we all lean into
I hope the
this.
meeting goes well. I hope the meeting is over in 45 minutes.
Yeah. I hope I hit all green lights today, getting to work.
Yeah. I hope so-and-so doesn't talk and drone on and on the meeting this morning.
Boy, yeah.
All the things that we hope, right?
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get started, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you're looking for coaching, no matter where you are in the world. And if you're in the state of Illinois and you're looking for psychotherapy, I can only see you if you're in the state of Illinois. But reach out to me, hello@annamarcolin.com. That's my email. You'll get me directly. And please also don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast with 5 stars. Makes all the difference in the world. And as I have mentioned to you before, I don't make a dime from this podcast. This has just been a labor of love for me for the past almost coming up on 6 years. One of the ways that you can give back, one of the smallest ways, is to take a minute, scroll down, click the 5 stars, and write 1 or 2 sentences of a review. And then really does make a difference for the podcast. So many thanks to you if you've already done it. And if you haven't, if you could go ahead and do that, I would so very much appreciate it.
You know what else is helpful is to share it.
Yeah,
share a link. Yeah. Like I'll send it to, we'll just get in casual conversations with people, maybe it's at work or whatever. And I'll just mention the word podcast and that's intriguing already. And then I'll just take the link and I'll just shoot it to them quickly.
Right.
Whether you text it or you email it, however you do it, doesn't matter. But
Right.
like, that's another way you can kind of spread the word too.
Right. Thank you. Okay. So hope is not a strategy. All right. Let's all just anchor down into that. And so we can have hope in our lives and we must have a strategy for getting things done. Okay. When we pin our future on hope alone, or we're waiting for change just to arrive, it's like waiting for somebody else to fix what is broken or what feels broken in our lives. What happens to you? What happens to me when hope runs dry? Because hope, it does run dry, right? It's like all the positive thinking in the world just feels heavy instead of light. It's like, oh, please stop with the toxic positivity. I used to be hopeful. I used to appreciate the positive phrases or the positive mantras, even that I would tell myself. And now I'm exhausted by it. That's what we call hope fatigue. And I think it's also another term for burnout. This is why it's not a strategy. We get fatigued by the idea that I'm just going to wish it to happen. Or sometimes it's just, and I got to say, people saying I'm manifesting this. Well, okay. You could manifest it all day long. And I do manifest things too, but you're going to work your ass off too. You're going to put it into action. You're going to work hard to get it. So have hope, manifest, and then go and take action and do the damn thing. Do the work.
There must be moments where I'm thinking like you can hope something, and there's things that you can control, and there's things that you have absolutely no control over. That to me is more of a match with hope. If you hope that something else happens, or somebody else does this or that, or this comes true, or you can hope that. It's another way of saying you wish that that was going to happen, right?
Right.
But if you're talking about stuff that you control, bad idea.
Well, it's interesting because you're talking right now. I was thinking about what we grew up in Christian religions was faith, hope, and love. Faith, hope, and love. We have hope. I don't even know what we have hope for, to be honest with you. I forget why we say that. I just know I grew up with it. Faith, I
I don't
get,
really
and
know
love,
what
I
we're
get.
hoping
Love is the
for.
greatest of all.
You're right.
I know faith,
Right.
faith in God. We believe in Jesus, faith in Jesus, but like hope for what? Hope for, I don't know, Tim.
I mean,
I don't know.
it literally could be a ton of things. Like you're hoping in the context of religion, and we're speaking about now,
Anybody
like
who knows me, anybody in my family who's more religious than me is gonna be like, Anna, I can't believe you don't know
you need
this.
to
Like,
stop
why do you
talking.
not know this? You went through how many years of religious education?
Right. It's okay.
Okay, so let me just give a little bit more of a further examples of what is hope fatigue. It's the burnout of optimism. It's like you're no longer optimistic. And I see this when I have people who come to me, or I hear about this. I hear about this sometimes with in my personal life, but actually it's more in my professional life with people coming to me for therapy and they're leaving another therapist and they want something different or new. And it was word of mouth referred to me. And they have this hope fatigue because they were hoping for change after I've been in therapy with him for 3, 4, 10 years and nothing has changed. And they're burnt out. They desperately want change and it hasn't happened. Part of that is they're going to their therapist. Part of that is on them. Part of that's probably on their therapist too, for that this person is looking for change and probably is the philosophy of that therapist because there's a very, very, very large school of thought. I'm a little bit different as a therapist because I'm action oriented and more conversational, as you all probably can tell with this podcast. I mean, I'm not going to be sitting there with my clipboard in my hand, just nodding my head, not saying a word, and just saying to my clients when they ask me what I think, I'm going to say, well, the question really is, what do you think?
how
And
does
that
that
is
make you feel?
that's a real philosophy and way
Yes.
of being as a therapist, as experienced by me 2.5 years ago when I went back to therapy to somebody who was highly recommended to me to deal with some family of origin issues. Two people just sung his praises and he was the worst fit for me.
Mm.
And he knew I was a therapist. It wasn't that. He just didn't talk the entire time. And when I asked him a question, he was older than me, which I wanted somebody who was more seasoned and more master's level in life, what he thought. And he said, the question is really, Anna, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm here. I'm asking you. I need your professional opinion.
Right.
I do get those people who say I spent years talking with this person and I was looking for change and they never offered their opinion or told me what they thought. And I need something to be different. So, and I have to say, not all therapists are like that. There are a lot, but not all.
Well, isn't and that client you're referring to, yeah, they were hopeful that it would have worked out with that therapist, and it didn't.
And they stay with them that long because they did like them and they liked their
Right.
personality.
So that's where the
Right.
fatigue part of this comes in.
That's where they get exhausted.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're also still hopeful that the working relationship that they're going to have with you
Yeah.
is going to be better.
And
right?
they took action.
Right.
They're still hopeful that a new therapist could help them or a new coach could help them.
Yeah.
And they took action. They terminated that relationship and they made that phone call, sent that email and said, I'm starting up with someone new. That's you. Let's get on a call together. Let's see if you'd be a good fit. They took the steps to start something new.
Yeah. I think that's a perfect example because the opposite would be the person that doesn't take action and they stay with that therapist and they're hopeful
because they like them.
They like them and they're hopeful that at some point something's going to flip for them.
And it doesn't.
Right. And it never does.
Yeah. And I almost think it's on the therapist, the coach to say, come on, I know I see you every week or twice a month. I know you want these changes. And
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think the therapist needs to be saying something. Okay. Anyways. All right. Another example of hope fatigue, and this is more on the macro scale in activism, political activism, when people are just, let's say, for example, air quote, marching, or they're marching decade after decade, or they're politicking or picketing, let's say, for example, decade after decade, and there's little to no systemic shift. There's hope fatigue there, and that's understandable. That feels like you have just an albatross or an elephant on your back and you're trying to trudge uphill looking for changes, gun control, looking for changes. What was it that just happened? My heart went out to the father of one of the kids that was killed in the recent shooting in Minneapolis at the school mass last Monday morning. And the dad said, we talk and we talk, and this is really big right now. And we've had 280 mass shootings in 2025 so far, almost one a day. My friend John was telling me this past weekend on a walk.
Wow.
And he said, yeah, this is in the news this week. This is air quote popular with media right now. And what's going to change? What's going to change?
Well, some of those,
and that's hope fatigue.
It is. And also I think you got to realize, like, some of those challenges, the uphill battle is too much and it will never change. Like, we all are hopeful that it might.
Well,
that
there you
somebody
go.
has an
That's not a
influence.
strategy, though. And okay, so we got to get more active.
Yeah.
Take action rather
But
than
I
just
think
being on the sidelines.
even if you do, I think there's some things that are just so big and so immovable.
For people, yes.
Yeah.
We feel as we're sitting in our little condos and our houses going, well, I'm just little old me. What can I do to affect change? But you can't have that attitude. Everybody comes together and signs a petition and shows up to a march or shows up to something, to an awareness meeting. That's how you start.
Yeah.
It's numbers. I get that too. I have felt that way. But like, what's it going to matter? Because it feels so big.
Yeah.
And so,
but I think as long as you're realistic, knowing that it's like, okay, we're not going to change this tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are the first stepping stone of many.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. There you go. Another example of hope fatigue is, let's say, professional people that we know and that I work with who they work tirelessly towards, like entrepreneurs working tirelessly towards a launch, or someone in corporate America or in a more of an institutional setting working so hard for that promotion that they want. And it just doesn't seem to land for them. They're not getting promoted. They got picked over by somebody else and they just keep on working. And they're starting to give up hope that that's going to happen for them in that position, in that job. Or they're giving up hope that the entrepreneurial world is for me. That's the hard one. That's really feeling very tired by just hoping that things are going to get better for you. So, okay, hope isn't enough. It's necessary. It keeps us alive. It pulls us forward towards our goals. But it's not sufficient. Hope without action, it's just waiting. So hope without action is just you waiting for life, for the things to show up. So you all are seeing already into this episode, we're talking about, I hope it gets better. I hope for this. I hope for that. Well, what's the missing piece? It's the action piece. And this is a good episode as a reminder to all of us. I mean, I've fallen prey to this. I deal with this. I hope for things that don't happen. And the truth be told, when I really take a hard look at myself, I realize, well, Anna, you didn't do all the work. You and I have been talking about this with me
right.
in my business.
True.
You're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. You're not doing in the order. Why are you skipping over that? You're missing details. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And then I get frustrated and I start to give up hope. But I'm not giving myself a fair shake. Well, I don't know the answers. I said to you yesterday, I don't know how to do that. Well, okay, then I have to figure out how to do it.
Right.
Talk to the right people.
That's right. Educate yourself a little bit on the things that you don't and you shouldn't
stop giving up hope.
Know.
But I will throw the baby out of the bathwater, get a little black and white in my thinking. And good thing I do have you to bounce it off of, because as you all know, if you've listened to this for any amount of time, in my coaching, I'm always going to bring in the skills I've learned as a therapist. That's what makes me stand out as an exceptional life coach. And I also don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. I'm right here with all of you. I mean, I'm first to say, yeah, my thoughts get distorted because it's a human condition. We do this. I just am aware of it maybe a little quicker than those who've learned cognitive behavioral therapy, and I can get myself out. Doesn't mean I don't go there though. I'll catastrophize. I get very black and white thinking. It's either all this or all that. And when we get black and white thinking, if it's all black and that's all the hope, and then that doesn't work out, then we go to white. Like, oh, F it. Just forget it. Just forget it. It's not going to work out. Nothing's going to work out. It's not happening.
Yeah.
This relationship is not going to work. We're getting divorced. It's not going to work. It's just too hard. And I keep hoping and hoping and hoping that you'll change, and you're not changing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you walk around life with blinders on, and it's like you see what you think you want to see and should see, and you don't remember that there's all these other influences around you good and bad, and just like, hold on a second, pause for a second, take a turn, look at that, use that as a resource,
Yeah.
for change for yourself
Yeah.
or your business or your whatever it is, your relationship.
Yeah. So going back to me saying that hope is not a strategy, and that is a term I have heard, and I just heard it recently in the F1 movie, but it's a term I've heard from leaders more in the corporate space. It's a term that they like to use. It's a reminder that optimism without execution changes nothing. And there's an impatience with leaders in the corporate world to make change happen. So don't come to me with the idea or the thought that you're hopeful. You need to come to me with a strategy. And they're impatient about the idea of being hopeful because things need to move and things need to move quickly, get it done. I want to know what your plan is. What's the action you're going to take? So the same is true in our personal lives too. I mean, you can't hope, like I just said, I just gave you the example. You can't just hope that your marriage is going to improve without really hard conversations with your spouse. I think most of us listening and watching on YouTube, we know this to be true. And we still hope that things just get better because you see that this is going to be hard. You see that you're going to have to get deep down inside yourself and you're going to have to go to some really uncomfortable, sticky spots within you that make you just want to like shift around in your seat. You don't want to sit with it. You don't want to sit with it. You have to face what's in front of you. That your marriage is cracked. The foundation is cracked. It's been cracked from the beginning. Or for some of you, it wasn't cracked and it's cracking now. And we know it. And we both know it. And no one's talking about it. We're not talking about the huge ass white elephant that's plunked itself down in the smack dab in the middle of our kitchen. It's on the island.
Yeah.
It's in the family room.
It is the island.
But we would rather just tiptoe rather than
Yeah.
talk about the real stuff. Because what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? That's the question. Why are you not having these conversations?
Yeah.
Rather than just hoping it gets better.
Yeah.
That ain't no strategy, my friend. Or are you hoping that your anxiety is just going to disappear without doing the emotional work? People thinking, I know I have anxiety. You got to do the work to manage those anxious feelings and thoughts. You got to do that emotional work. For some of my clients, it's deep, deep work on your anxiety. And it's looking at the evidence of your thoughts. But you got to do that work. And you have to pay somebody who knows more than you. Sometimes we have to fork out the dough, the dollars, to pay somebody who knows more than us. And I'm not, maybe you have insurance for this, maybe you don't. Some people it is the money, some people it's a copay. But you got to find somebody who knows more than you. And I've said this so many times here. The only reason why I am where I am in my life, personally and professionally, is because of my therapists and because of my spiritual mentors and my coaches. They've gotten me to where I am. I would not be here in 2025, sitting here on YouTube, on this podcast, talking with you about all the things that I know. I don't know it all. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I hope to never be, because I hope to always be curious and learning. I'm not that smart, but I am curious and I take in what the people around me who know more than me have told me.
Yeah.
And I've had to pay a lot of money for it, but it's been so worth it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's good advice. Think of it in terms of the world of just strictly business, whatever that business might be. I mean, it's easy to get caught in the trap where you're like, you want something to change because you don't like what it is right now. And instead of thinking about, well, we could do these different approaches to this.
Right.
What do people do a lot of the time? They just sit there and they complain about it.
Yes.
And they stew on it and they get everybody.
Complaining gets annoying for people in your life. I'm going to knock, come on, we all know this. You all know people who complain.
Yeah.
You listen to it for a few times. Most of us will really throw each other grace and you'll listen to it 1, 2, 3. Then you start to get a little tired.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, they're complaining a lot. Or you don't like, I'm going to leave in the room. You don't want to be the one that they complain to. You don't want to hear it.
Right.
It's like a broken record. Just,
Yeah. I mean, I try to coach up. This is truly a mindset shift because, I try and coach up my guys like, okay, we can identify things that we don't like, whether it's because it's broken or it's just we don't like the process or whatever it is.
Right.
But instead of sitting there and spinning that plate around and around, let's come with solutions. So you can come in and identify, but come with solutions
Well,
also.
I think every boss or every leader has said that. I mean,
but that doesn't actually happen.
You can't.
That's the thing.
Well, that's really
it's the way
okay.
it
So this
should
is
go.
sage advice and wisdom for all of you. You can go and complain to your boss, but you better have a solution. I
Yeah.
think I said it to one of my kids recently.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't go in there and just bitch at him.
Yeah.
You know, you are legit what you're saying, but you better have some ideas about how it can get fixed because your boss does not have a time. They'll give you 15 minutes, but they do not have a time to have you just sit in their office chair and go off about something you're upset about. You better have thought about the answer.
You're just a
And
squeaky
she's like,
wheel
oh,
at that
okay,
point.
okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't have time
No.
because they have other things that they're dealing with.
Correct.
And they were like, oh, yeah, that's right. Like, that's okay. Like, what are some ideas? What are some thoughts you have about that? And she did have thoughts.
Yeah.
So we're really, in a way, talking about the idea of learned helplessness that comes from Martin Seligman. He's the father of positive psychology. You know, he's 83 years old today and still teaching at the University of Pennsylvania in the school of, I think he's in the School of Psychology at Penn. I mean, I've grew up studying him in undergrad and graduate school. I've always known who he is. So learned helplessness is something we all know about. You know, it's repeated disappointments in our lives have trained the brain to stop trying, even when there are options available. And it's frustrating to be around people. You've seen them in the workplace, or maybe you've seen it with some of the triathletes you've worked with. It's frustrating to be around people who have this learned helplessness, or maybe it's kind of a victim attitude in a way. They're the victim. I can't.
Yeah.
I've done it already. I've tried. And I'm being a little dramatic in the way I'm saying it right now, but we all know people like that.
Yeah. Like I can't try any harder to perfect my deficiency in whatever it is. Right. Like I would like to swim faster, but I can't do that. I can't get myself wrapped around that I need to adjust my body position for this particular thing.
Because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to just go with it.
And I've had some over the years therapy clients who've come in with a learned helplessness, and I work with them for a bit until I realize that, you know, you can bring a horse to water, right? Can't make it drink from the trough. When I have realized I'm not your gal, because the learned helplessness, the victim attitude is really not a fit for me as a therapist or a coach. And people who come to me for coaching, they're not that way at all. They've got goals, they got stuff they want to do, they want to improve their lives. I've seen it more in the past in therapy, but I refer them out to somebody else because I get impatient with it, to be honest with you. I can't work with somebody who you're in therapy, but you really just want to come in for 45 minutes and talk about your learned helpless attitude, about all the things in your life, and you really don't want to make changes.
Yeah.
You need to find somebody else who, maybe like we talked about earlier in the episode, the therapist who will see you for 4 years. You can go and sit in their office and talk for 45 minutes and make no changes.
Right.
That would be a better fit for you.
And maybe that makes you feel good, I guess. I think it feels doing something
to a point. And I understand in the beginning, and I give a lot of grace for that in the first, I'm saying months, the first few months.
Yeah.
I give a lot of grace for sometimes you need to vent. You need to come. You're paying for that time. And my job is to listen to you and help you process. But then it's like, okay, I can't, this is like the 10th time I've heard the story. And we're telling the same story over again and over again and over again and over again and over again. I get venting. I like to vent. And you know me, I'll vent about an issue. I have to almost wear my issue out. I do that with you. I do that with sometimes my kids. I will have to tell a story over and over and over and over again. And then I'm done. I hit a wall with it. And it's almost like my mind is like, you've worn it out. You've exhausted it, because I'm a verbal processor. Process. And then I come to a resolve or a resolution. I think you would say that's true about me.
100%.
But then there are people who it's like 3 or 4 months later, and I'm like, okay, why are you here? In a compassionate and empathic way, but why are you here right now? I have noticed that we're continuing to talk about the same issue. And I have actually had 2 clients, I think I mentioned it here on a podcast episode many months ago. 2 people say to me, and I really appreciated their honesty. They said, I realize I don't want to change. I don't want this different. I don't want this to change. Someone said, I'm not giving up that habit. And I liked her very much. And she liked me. I had a hard time. She didn't want to leave when the session was over. I'm like, you have to leave. I have to go to the bathroom, and I have another client right behind you. You have to leave my office right now. And she was lovely. And I know she likes me. She just finally said, that doorknob conversation, we call them. I said, you're going to have to make these changes. She goes, Anna, I don't want to. I'm like, well, There's nothing else that we can do. And another woman said the same thing to me. She said, I'm not ready. I don't want to change. I said, okay, well, this has been like a year and I think we need to stop now. And she agreed because it was like 45, 50 minutes of just talking about the same thing every single week.
So what does that speak to more? Does that speak to the fact that they semi-enjoy the position they're in, the situation they're in? Does it speak to that? Or does it speak to the fact that they don't think they have the wherewithal to make that change?
Like I've said many times, you've heard me say this, I think change is very hard for people. So we need to go underneath this. I think that they enjoyed their time with me. I think they enjoyed just our time together, just sitting, and this is before COVID, although you can come here and sit with me here in my home office. I think it was sitting together for 45 minutes. I think it was a really wonderful time of the day. I had a client say to me, this is like a giant massage talking with you, depending on the type of work that they're doing. Trauma work is not a giant massage all the time. And teaching skills is not always a giant massage because they're learning mental skills. But certain clients, it's just a really wonderfully affirmative, supportive, empathic time for them where they feel heard and seen and listened to by me. And okay, we can do that. But what was the initial problem you came in for? My job is to help you work through that. And then they realize I don't want to make those changes. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to change that habit. And I'm comfortable with the devil I know versus the devil I don't know. So what's that about? There's fear. And they have said to me, the two in particular I'm thinking about, they said, I'm too afraid to look underneath the hood. I'm too afraid to do that work. And I'm comfortable with this. So, okay. If you ever want to make the changes, come back.
Yeah. I mean, I think once you say that out loud, I think you pretty much have solved your own problem.
They knew it. They knew it. The research anchor for all of you on hope fatigue is from Seligman, the whole idea around learned helplessness. We'll just talk quickly about how it shows up and how we do see it. And I have had this happen. I'll be the first to admit it shows up in having a cynical attitude. And you hear it in the, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, that's totally me. I have had that before. Hope fatigue. Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it. And I've had this too, emotional flatness. You're just flat. You kind of stop caring about things you once fought for. You probably seen that with me more in my business because it's so hard as an entrepreneur. I'm a little flat about things. That's fatigued. And the problem with Anna is that Anna did not always have action steps in place for herself. She didn't have action. She didn't have a plan. And so when Anna doesn't have a plan, when I don't have a plan, and I just am hoping for something to be so great and glorious, well, okay, but it didn't happen. Well, why? Well, because you didn't have a plan. Well, that was me.
There's a lot of faith and not a lot of action, right? Yeah. Wait, go back to the other one. I hope. What was the first one you said? I hope.
Cynicism. I'll believe it when I see it.
I believe it when I see it.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Give us an example of how that goes. I believe what when I see it.
I've said that. Well, I've said that about I've said that about people in our lives, our family, or something like something changing or something happening, like being cynical about, I've said it to you. You've had ideas about wanting to start these different businesses, but you haven't done it because I don't think you've ever really intended to follow through on ideas. You've had great ideas because you'll be just like spitballing. We're on a morning walk with the dogs. And you'll be spitballing about some great idea. And I just said it to you recently and I'm like, I just like roll my eyes and I'm like, right, Tim, I'll believe it when I see it. I've said that to you many times about your ideas.
Yeah.
I don't know that you've ever had a plan for it, but I think deep down inside, I'm like, that actually is a really good idea and somebody should create that.
Yeah.
I just know it's not going to be you.
Nice.
It's true. It's true.
I do have great ideas. So you're right. I should press go on them.
You should.
Right? I really should.
You said that should. Choose. We're disentangling a thought distortion right now in this. I'm going to coaching you up. I should take it out and put in the word
will.
Choose. Okay. Or will.
Yeah.
Say it.
I choose to act on it.
No, I do have really good ideas. I've chosen not to act on any of them.
Yeah. Well, but that's a negative though, right?
But you have not chosen to act on
No,
any
it's true. But I think you should focus on like, I will. Like,
but I don't know that you will.
Well, but I think if you don't know that then you've shut the door already.
You coming up with a blanket for triathletes or people running races to cover themselves so they don't get butt naked in front of 1,000 people finishing a half marathon. And you have a great idea. Okay, we're just putting it out there, but whatever.
No, it's already out there.
Okay, sorry.
Companies making it already.
Okay, so that was an idea years ago, which is a great one. It was a way to cover yourself up and Velcro so you could like take your shorts off, your sweaty, nasty shorts or your wet triathlete, sweaty bike and run shorts and
Yeah.
whatever, change your clothes because
Yeah.
you can now want to go to breakfast with your friends.
Right.
That was a great idea. And I chose not to follow through on that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because now they make it where it's magnetic on the corners.
Okay. Anyways, so there you go. So I that's hope fatigue.
Yeah.
But I didn't have it seriously with you, but I would hear you talk a lot of it. So that's a cynicism I have had towards you. Like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it.
Right.
Right. Okay.
And you probably have said that to yourself with a client too, like somebody that you know
geez,
is.
I hope not.
But I mean, somebody that you know
no,
is like.
I hope I've never done that with a client, to be honest
But
with you.
maybe somebody who like has no intentions, like you finally have just defined that they have actually no intentions, but yet they keep saying it.
Well, those clients who came to me in the beginning who wanted to make changes,
Yeah.
and then they realized, and I realized, I'm not ready. I don't want to, and I'm not ready right now to make these changes.
And I believe it when I see it because you've been talking about this for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're not going to say it out loud, obviously, but it's got to be a little bit of a thought in your head like, okay. Well, I hope you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
So some other ways that hope fatigue shows up is when we numb ourselves out or we disengage from our goals, our causes, or even our relationships. You know, we disengage from relationships in our lives. I talked about the example of the marriage earlier where you've given up hope and you're not taking action. You just keep hoping that's going to get better. And now you're pretty numbed out. Now you are indifferent. And I've always said this, especially when it comes to relationships, when I see somebody who's indifferent, that always concerns me. Whenever I was working with couples and somebody was indifferent, that to me showed, and this was true, years and years of dysfunction and problems in the marriage or the partnership that they were not taken care of. They both saw, they decided at some point they actively were inactive in deciding, actively inactive in their personal relationship with that person and didn't go to therapy, didn't do any work, didn't go to a retreat weekend for couples, did nothing. And by the time they came to me, though, because now the person's like, I'm out, I'm leaving, and we're splitting up, I'm taking the kids, whatever, the dogs are getting split, the cats. Now you realize, holy shit, my life is about to implode. And now they're coming into couples therapy, and the person who wants out is indifferent. They don't care.
Yeah.
They're done.
And the other person,
that's always been the biggest red flag.
And the other person is at that
then
point
now they're freaking out.
desperate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They've probably gone through that other phase of, I believe it when I see it. Like, because that
yes.
person's, oh, I'll definitely work on this, or I'll fix that, or I'll change this, or I'll be different about that. And it's like,
It's sort of the stages of grief when we're talking about the end of a relationship, and the person who is going to therapy, they're like, I've been telling you I wanted to come for 5 years. And at this point, I'm numbed out. I'm totally disengaged. I'm actually already, you don't realize it, but I've already made plans for how this is going to go down, how this is going to end. The other person's like, wait, you know, and that's sad to see because you can't make somebody, well, it's very difficult to make somebody go from indifferent to caring when they have spent years caring. So that's
time
not
might
a good one. Yeah.
Have shifted it so much that it just can't be righted again. Right.
And you know, you're feeling fatigued. You have hope fatigue when someone says something to you like, just stay positive, and you just feel like completely irritated and annoyed by that. You know that you're experiencing burnout or hope fatigue. Just stay positive, because that's like that toxic positivity. You're like, no, I'm not going to just stay positive.
Yeah.
That's how it shows up for you.
Yeah.
Because if you feel irritable or annoyed by people making positive comments to you that feel like they're shallow, pay attention to that within yourself of what's coming up for you and why you feel irritated by the just stay positive comments. Okay. So I'm going to reframe hope for all of us. There's 4 reframes here. So I want you to look at hope as fuel, not the vehicle. Okay. So hope sparks the engine, but you still have to drive that car. So yes, we want you to have hope. You know, it's fueling the engine, but you got to drive. Drive is the action, right?
Okay.
Reframe number 2 for you is hope in your process. Of course, have hope in the process of what it is that you're getting done, not just the outcome. So I want you to be hopeful about the process, because when you focus on the process, that's when we get things done. When we're always thinking about the outcomes, the process tends to suck. We tend to stop. And we don't go through the process. Okay. So celebrate those progress markers in maybe that work you're doing in the everyday to try to get that promotion at work, or the progress you're making every day to try to improve your relationship with your partner, or even like your sibling, your adult sibling. What are you doing in the everyday or in the weekly to improve that relationship? Are you sending texts? Are you sending them an email? Are you sending them a funny meme? Say, I thought of you. Remember that when we were kids? That's you having hope in the process because they sent you a heart emoji back or a laughing emoji back, right? Not just the finish line that you're going to be real close again. Well, that's the outcome. And you can have that in the back of your mind, but I want you to focus on the process. All right. So hope is process, not outcomes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's important to have, and maybe this is something I have to think about when I just said earlier about faith, hope, and love, have active hope. So this is from Joanna Macy. She's an eco philosopher. She defines active hope as hope that arises from the actions we take to make change possible. And I love that definition of active hope. It's hope that arises from the actions that we take to make change possible in our lives. You're not from waiting for change to happen. It's from actively being active in our lives. So have hope and then get to it, get to work on making change happen. That's
Press go.
action. Press
Yeah, you got
go,
press go.
move your butt, get in gear,
Yeah.
go, get it done,
Yeah.
take action. All right.
Here's a really simple example because it's fresh in my mind because of this last weekend. We were up in Wisconsin, and you see these guys out every morning. They're fishing.
Yeah.
Right. Every single morning.
Early morning.
And what is it? They're hopeful that they're going to catch that big fish.
Right.
But if all they do is stand on the dock and throw their line in the water, that's their strategy. Probably not going to happen. They need to consider all right, I need to get my boat. Where do I go? Do some research on where do I go in the body of water that I'm fishing. What type of bait do I need to use? What time of day is the best? Set myself up for success versus just sitting in your lawn chair on a dock, throwing it in, hopeful that you're going to catch something.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, most likely, right?
You got to get out there.
You have to have a strategy.
Yeah.
And you look at some of these guys and you could tell they've been really thinking it through.
They've done their homework.
They have done their homework.
They're
Absolutely.
out there on their boat early in the morning, the different coves.
Yeah.
They know where the fish
Yeah.
are.
And it might not always win with that, but I think you increase your odds tremendously by doing that also.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So to wrap up, I'm going to give you your 5 power moves. They're going to move you out of this hope fatigue. Okay. That's going to help you move the needle out of hope fatigue and into taking action in your life. All right. Number 1, I want you to audit your hopes, audit them. So ask yourself, am I just passively hoping for things to change, or am I pairing it with concrete action? So that was to your fishing story. Am I passively hoping for things to change in my life, things I want, or am I pairing my hope with concrete action? Number 1. Number 2, and this is grief. We talked about a minute earlier. I want you to name the grief. Grief is something here I haven't talked about a whole lot, but we did talk about it a moment earlier. Acknowledge what has not happened in your life yet. Okay. Acknowledge it. That's important. You got to do that. Okay. I hoped that this would happen. Hasn't. Grieving your unmet hopes, it clears the emotional bandwidth for new ones to come in. It's almost like you got to just clear out that energy of what you hoped for, but you didn't have a plan for. Let it go. Okay. Grieve it. Let it go.
Okay.
But do that work. Spend some time on that. Number 3, I want you to create micro strategies. So replace a sentence like, I hope my anxiety gets better with, all right, I'm going to practice 3 grounding techniques today. My therapy and my coaching clients do this. Oh, I hope my anxiety gets better. I hope I don't have a panic attack before I have to go on stage. I hope I don't have an anxiety attack and, whatever the symptoms might be for that person who has anxiety before I go to that meeting this morning or have that conversation with my wife. All right, what are you going to do instead? You're going to practice 3 grounding techniques. You're going to practice these breathing exercises I showed you 2 times tomorrow or 3 times tomorrow. In the morning when you wake up, on your drive into work maybe, and then right before you go into the meeting.
Yeah.
All right. So there's your micro strategies.
Yeah. And I think there's so many takeaways in life for that. Almost everything that you do, you should consider that as your strategy. Doesn't matter how big it is or how small it is.
Right.
Because you can hope for a lot of different things. But if you don't have any plans whatsoever, you're just waiting.
You got to have a plan. I mean, I have a whole litany of plans and exercises and skills and traits that I teach my coaching clients. and my therapy clients. I mean, and that's sort of the secret sauce of how I work. But you got a whole plan in mind. You got something we're working on together. We have a strategy together, which is it's such a game changer.
Yeah.
And how you show up. Hope fatigue goes away, and you're like, I got a plan. I got a strategy. This is the strategy I worked on with Anna.
Yeah.
And if it's so game changing.
Yeah. And I think it also speaks to, I'm just thinking in the world of business, it speaks to time management too, because you have to take a second to pause. You hope that this is all going to turn out. We're about ready to go into this meeting. We're about ready to put on this production. We're about ready to whatever it might be. And then you just go and do it, and you forget about the little strategies that you should be doing right before you walk into that room or onto that stage.
Have a game plan.
Yeah, but
have a game plan.
We don't, right? We don't.
No, and that's also like I'm the badass confidence coach, right? That's the name of the podcast. It's also that I came around to that title when I was thinking about a name for the podcast back in 2019 because I was thinking about all my badass clients who do this, and I've taught and started to do this, or who just came into me who already were badasses, who wanted to improve their badassery.
Yeah.
That's where this comes from. I mean, they had hope, but they had confidence because they had a strategy for how they were going to make things happen in their lives.
Right.
Whether they be an athlete, whether they be an entrepreneur, whether they be in the corporate world or just their regular 9-to-5, and they had goals for themselves. They wanted to get out of that 9-to-5. We worked on, many of them came in with strategies already, and I would help them hone them. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they think differently. And that's what I'm hoping this podcast is helping all of you. You don't know what you don't know. These people think differently. And that's what I want you all to learn from the podcast. So they're not talents. I mean, those are skills that they have learned. They employ the skills that they have learned over the years from others and from me. And I teach that as a coach to you. Okay. So number 4, power move. Now, this is more on the macro scale. I want you to shift from your solo hope, the hopes you have that you say to yourself about making macro changes in the world, to collective hope. So that's you joining like Moms Demand Action Gun Control lobby group, or a community group where you are in your part of the country, or joining whatever it might be that you care about, that you want climate change, climate control, climate change, like whatever your issues are, if you're interested and you want to make change, the LGBTQIA community, joining a group or going to fundraisers or getting with a community of people who are like-minded, then together it increases your hope, because what happens is those groups don't just come together and chit chat and talk, they're networking and they're coming up with a plan and a strategy.
Right. Doesn't it also increase, it's a rhetorical question, it also increases your chance for success in making a change for whatever it is you're talking about.
Right. Right. Okay. And your 5th power move that's going to move the needle away from hope fatigue is you're going to anchor into a sense of agency. So I want you to end each day asking yourself, what did I do today that I can control? What did I do today that I was in control of, that I can control, that's moving me closer to my goals? Okay. So this is really an action step, or you can do it early in the morning when you wake up. What can I do today to move me closer to my goals? What can I do today that by the time I go to bed tonight, I'm going to feel like I got it. I got something done. Even if it's one thing.
Yeah.
That takes you out of just hoping for something to be better, because you're going to say to yourself when you go to bed, well, I did that today.
Yeah.
And actually 2 days ago, I did those 2 things. There you go. Those are the actions that you're taking.
Yeah. And this is all after you've defined, you probably had to have some careful looking inside yourself moments, right? Where you've defined what the goals actually are. What is the ultimate goal out there, right?
And I would say this whole topic of hope fatigue, I would get consultation around this. Like I personally would work with somebody around this, because I think that this is something that we really as humans can live in our own heads about and not talk about, not speak about, but we get frustrated, we get irritated, we get discouraged and like, oh, F it, forget it. Why am I even doing this? And we can easily not share, because it means we have to be vulnerable. We have to feel a little exposed about what hasn't worked well for us in our lives. My marriage isn't working out the way I thought I was going to. This business is not as successful. I'm not making the money I thought I'd be making by now. I haven't reached these goals. I'm still in massive financial debt. I'm giving up hope. I thought I'd be at a better place. I would seek consultation and get coaching around this, because you can really move out of this hope fatigue and move into taking action in your life. This is about empowerment. Okay. So, hope fatigue, it doesn't mean you failed. That's number one. It's really important for you in closing. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means you've been carrying this weight of hope without the structure of strategy. That's what you need. You need the structure of a strategic plan for yourself. That's why I think coaching is so important around this. So remember, hope, it's not a strategy, but it's a spark. It's great that you have that spark. Have the spark, then take action. All right. The strategy is what you do with that spark. That's your strategy. What are you doing with it? You got the spark of hope. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
What's next?
You're starting there. What's next?
Yeah.
All right. When you combine the two together, you really move from exhausted to empowered. Okay. So there you go.
I like it. It's a lot of
Hope
good takeaways
fatigue,
for sure.
Like, let's make your dreams come true. Let's go after those big goals. You all can do this. Get help if you need it. But let's move from your hope. Let's move into strategy, get a plan together, and watch great things happen.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, everybody. Until next time, have a wonderful week. Mad love. And please, like I always say in the beginning, don't forget to subscribe and rate, review with 5 stars a podcast. Okay. Bye.